As artists, visual storytelling is a tool that we should definitely have under our belts. Today, I'll share with you some principles you should think about when illustrating a story. First, it's important to know what you want to share with your illustration. That focus will allow you to make every decision with one purpose in mind and make the piece more coherent. If you're doing this for a marketing campaign or something political, focus is even more important. Now, you might be wondering, what makes an image tell a story? And the problem is that that is extremely subjective. But I like the definition that Jamila Knopf, I have no idea how to pronounce her name. I'm really sorry. She's an amazing artist. She gave a conference in the Lightbox Expo a few years ago, and I found the class online and I absolutely love it. She talked about connection and relation. What's the relation between two characters? The characters and the environment. The character with a pet, with a prop. What's the relationship of the character with themselves? All of those relationships are the ones that help you tell a story. Even the pose of a character can tell you about them. Depending on who you ask, just a character posing is not visual storytelling. I think it's more showing the personality of that character if it's only them. But that's subjective, as I said. You can go for a very detailed kind of illustration, but it's not the only way to tell a story. Details are important, but not every detail is. And this also depends a lot on your style. If you are the kind of person that enjoys making backgrounds like Studio Ghibli, go ahead, make as much details on those backgrounds as you want. But if you're more like me and you don't like it, you don't have to. So the details are important, but not every detail is, and it depends a lot of the context. And part of the context is the medium. If I'm working on a comic, I have multiple panels, so a detail that didn't show in the first panel can be shown in the second one. Or the reader should have the context to understand how important this particular action is at this point of the story. If you're working on animation, budget and time are super important and they're gonna determine how detailed your artwork can be. If you're going for a Studio Ghibli level of detail, is because you have a Studio Ghibli level of sources and time. But you can also take the shortcut of Hanna-Barbera and reusing backgrounds, like she did in the animations during the 70s. Or go for the Pink Panther, which I absolutely love. You can see here that they used to use very minimalistic backgrounds and they just added whatever the character was gonna interact with. Your brain is able to create the details that are not there. Even if you don't have a perfect perspective or if the floor and the wall are just shown by a line, your brain is able to understand everything else. So if you don't want to go full detail, think about what details are important and what details do you want to add. If we're talking about an illustrated novel, maybe you don't need so much detail because the reader is gonna be reading the text and your illustrations help to complement it, but the viewer doesn't fully rely on them to understand what's happening. The text will help you carry some details of why the character shows certain emotion or the importance that image might hold. Even if you're only doing one illustration, it's not necessary to have every detail drawn. If you want to focus on the relationship of two characters, that can be shown with their poses. The lighting can give you a lot about the vibe, the time of day, the place they're in, and their clothes can give you an idea of where they are from, and all of that gets through without a background. I'm not saying you shouldn't draw backgrounds, but I've seen some people say that you can't tell a story without one. So I just want to make sure that you know that that's not true. You can totally tell a story even if you are not drawing backgrounds. If you enjoy doing them, go for it. I usually avoid them. I know how to make them and sometimes they're very important. But it's more a matter of knowing when you should use it and when you shouldn't, or when you don't have to. Another characteristic that makes it visual storytelling is that you get this feeling that there is more about the image. There's something you're not seeing, a world that we don't have access to that expands beyond the limits of the canvas. It doesn't feel stiff or false. It's something that honestly, it's mainly defined by feeling. If you're going for a more critical approach, like probably some sort of political social message, Your image should be able to leave the reader thinking, questioning their actions, the society, or something. For this illustration, I wanted to focus on their relationship, something that felt close, that you could feel the love between the characters. I also wanted that feeling of nature and sunshine and being under a tree. The lighting helped me get the point of them being under a tree without really needing to draw the tree or the background at all. Even without the chairs or the stairs, you know they're sitting down in this one. Your brain is able to feel the details that you don't see, and the details you don't draw but leave up for interpretation for the reader, honestly are way better than any artist could do, because what each person sees in their head is perfect for them. I really love this mini comic from Pluma Dot's Were Bunny AU. She could have shown Jimin's reaction and it would have worked. But the fact that we just get these little hearts or these lines, it gives us total freedom to imagine his expression, and sometimes that's actually a very good tool, because his expression is perfect, because we don't see it. So each person is gonna imagine the expression they wanna see there. Where I'm going with this is that it's important to know when you wanna show something and when not showing it, it's also a very good tool. The most important thing is to know what you wanna tell or share with your public and make it as clear as you can, with as much detail as you want or need. The key for good visual storytelling is understanding your intention with the piece, the context, and your limits. That can be time, budget, etc. This piece, I was originally planning to do it with a background, and then I realized that I just have a couple hours to finish it. So, no, background was not really an option. How do you go about creating pieces that tell a story? Let me know down in the comments some of your favorite artists that use visual storytelling in their pieces. I'll be doing a video on specific steps that you can take to create a visual story and some practical exercises. So make sure to subscribe and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!